Chris Harvey is Blues Arcadia, or 20% of Blues Arcadia. So welcome
Yeah.
to the 20% of the band. Gracious enough to
Thanks.
get up at this early hour of the morning to
Yeah.
speak to us today.
No worries. It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Some really tasty sounds that you've been getting through Blues Arcadia, particularly with the Carnival of Fools album, which is the most recent record. Uh,
Yeah.
how long has the band been together, and who are the major inspirations that drove you collectively to this sound?
So the band has been together for about 6 years. We've had various lineup changes over the 6 years. I think we're on our fourth piano player at the moment, right? But the main three members is Alan Boyle, singer, Jeremy Cleese, bass player, and myself on guitar. We're the three main members. Still, if you think about the old soul, like Otis Redding, Wilson Pickett, those sort of Stax guys, they were still very blues based, but they would mess with the form a lot. They wouldn't be a straight 12 bar. Sometimes they'd have a turnaround, make a double turnaround. There's a lot of gospel influences in our band. So we're just sort of progressing as songwriters. And we've always sort of let the song dictate what's going on rather than saying, oh, you know, we were supposed to be a blues band, so we have to write like a blues band. So that, our influences kind of varied. Pop's, Alan's got a very kind of pop influence.
For a band from Queensland, being the blues and soul sound that you are, you're almost at the furthest most point away from the origins of blues and soul out of the United States.
Yeah, you can't get much further away than that, can you? Yeah, yeah. I know. I mean, I've got my Englishness, my influence from there, from the sort of English scene. Um, but yeah, it's just the stuff that we listen to. We're going to get a more of a. I've been studying, and so is the bass player actually. He's in second year. I'm in third year. I'm studying at JMI, the Jazz Music Institute in Brisbane. So I'm nearly at the end of my jazz degree, and though not particularly in the soloing, but in the new record that we haven't finished the new record yet, but we're just about to finish it. The jazz influence is coming into the band now because through the songwriting, because of I've learned so much more harmony by doing this degree. So, and that's coming in.
I guess on Carnival of Fools, there's also that jazz influence that does fall in there. I
Yeah.
mean, like it is rather evident in listening to the record that there is a jazz component to this band.
Yes. Usually coming from the piano player. That was Palmer's Rose, and she has a jazz like a conservatorium background. So her influence would be coming from a jazz perspective. And our current piano player, Paula Gervin, is one of the lecturers at JMI. So that jazz influence is continuing it to become prevalent in the band. I mean, it was kind of in the background. So the piano player would add extended chords, for want of a better word, would add a jazz tinge into some of the songs. Now it's sort of coming more from the front end a little bit. I mean, we're not going to be writing jazz, but there's a little bit more jazz coming in from the songwriting. So it's just the way it is. And as I said before, we're just letting the songs do the talking. Really, if it goes that way, well, let's go that way. I don't want to be. I find it really hard if I'm restricted in the sense of songwriting, in the sense of, well, this is the genre, then nothing will come out. Nothing will come out.
The all important question that I have to ask you:
Yeah.
Motown or Stax?
Off the top of my head, I would say Stax, but I'm not dismissing Motown at all. I don't dismiss the Gordy brothers at all. I mean, they've written some fantastic songs. So it's a bit of both. But if I would go for one, I would say Stax, and we were much more influenced by the Stax, raw Stax sound than the Motown sound. I mean, the Motown sound's very polished, and it's also very big production, which we can't afford to do, you know. But saying that, though, we are currently writing a song, which hasn't been finished yet, which is very influenced by Motown. So I've sort of listening to when I have to have time off listening to jazz, which is kind of rare. I listen to a lot of Supremes and a lot of Temptations as well recently, and I sort of formed a song just sort of as a tribute to those sort of bands, you know, those sort of acts. Yeah, so.
Or you've got the Trip the Switch coming up, which is a great lineup and a very diverse lineup too. When you look at the various artists are on there, from Blues Arcadia to a country tinge Shannon Noll, through to the '80s electronic rock sound of Icehouse.
Yeah, and Killing Heidi, yeah, and all that. Yeah, I was surprised. I mean, I think we're really chuffed to be on the lineup. It was kind of surprised that they actually wanted us on there, but I'm like, oh, great. I mean, I think that commercial sensibility that we've got has helped us to get onto that lineup. I think if we were like a straight blues band, I don't think we would be on that lineup, so yeah, it's really good. I mean, yeah, it's a great opportunity for us to play in front of an audience that would not normally be watching us, so hopefully we can pick up a few fans from the Trip to Switch gig.
Yeah, well, looking forward to that. And any plans for actually getting out of Queensland? I know it's very difficult for any band at the moment to cross a border, but what's the go?
We've got a record we're going to release soon. Yeah, we want to tour. We want to go back to touring again. But every time we even think about it, there's something happening. Like we literally were talking about just before the Melbourne lockdown. Literally about a week, we're going, right, it seems to be pretty cool. Let's book some gigs down to Melbourne. Nah. So we just got to wait, We're playing a little bit. We don't really play a lot locally, so it's kind of frustrating for us. We don't want to, we could easily just become another bar band in Brisbane. Easy, just play all the usual venues. But we don't want to do that. And I've been there before playing around southeast Queensland, and you end up playing to no one. It doesn't matter how good you are. Even like the top acts around Brisbane, if they overshoot it, they play too much. Because the audience it's not. You're not getting a tourist element. Even before COVID, right? You wouldn't get like what you would get in Melbourne and in London, where you could play 5 nights a week. Sometimes the same venues, and the audience would just be like revolving. So you'd never actually play to the same person every week or every night. You don't do that. Most of the time we play, we know the audience. A good 50% of the audience we know, and they will always come. So we have to sort of make sure we make a distance between each gig. We separate each gig in Queensland. So even us just going across the border, even going to Byron is a pain in the ass, at the moment. So we're just waiting for things to calm down,
Well, Blues Arcadia is the band. Trip the Switch opening with Blues Arcadia, closing with Icehouse. Get in early, and what a great day of music.